The 2025 Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus is the most feature-laden Tracer ever. It's also the most expensive. So let's see what you get for your money, but more importantly, find out if it is still one of the best sports tourers on the market. To say this bike is loaded with tech and features is an understatement. It has the Y-AMT Gearbox, matrix LED headlights, radar assisted cruise control and blind spot detection, a 7-inch TFT screen with integrated Garmin navigation, adjustable semi-active electronic suspension, intelligent braking and vehicle hold control, electrically adjusted windscreen, keyless ignition, low maintenance chain, customizable ride modes, tyre pressure monitoring, 10 level heated grips, smartphone storage compartment, integrated luggage with central lock-in and a centre stand. That is a hell of a lot of kit, but I don't want it to overshadow the riding experience, so let's talk about some of those key elements out on the road. Okay, so I've gone through the specs of this bike as quickly as I can. There's a lot of specs on there. The important thing is what it rides like, and I'll talk about some of those specs incorporated into what I'm doing. So let's just get the bike started. Keyless, push that in, turn it around to there. It's that simple. So we're set in automatic mode. You can see the AT on here, and then we've got drive mode and D+ mode. D+ mode is a bit sportier. Similar, I think, actually to the Honda DCT in Sport Mode 2. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But that's it, that's ready to go. So, the Tracer 9 GT Plus comes with the Y-AMT Gearbox. That is your only option. There is no manual option. That's going to upset a few people. I don't know why they haven't offered it in both drivetrains. I don't know. But it is what it is. So, it makes sense to talk about that first of all. So as I said, I'm in automatic mode completely. It's the first time I've ridden the Y-AMT, and I have to say I really like it. Now I ride a DCT Africa Twin, so I have no issues with that type of gearbox. I suspect quite a few people have already switched off when they've seen that this bike is only available with that gearbox. But I think maybe you should give it a chance, because this is very, very good. Now obviously you can manually override it, so I'm in 6th gear. Now if I want to drop it down into 5th gear or 4th gear, I can do that. I'll go back up again. Doesn't take it out of automatic mode. And obviously the way this bike works, taking the feed from the IMU and the revs and the lean and everything else, much like the Honda, it adapts to the way that you ride. Now I'm not going to say that it learns, in that sense it's not a sentient being, but what it does will adapt to the way that you ride. So let me find somewhere, actually probably not the best road to do this on. Okay, so I'm in 1st gear, so if I just pootle along, there you go, 4,000 revs, it changed to 2nd, then we're up to 3rd and 4th. Nice smooth gear changes. It just feels like you've changed the gear yourself. It feels more mechanical than Honda. That's not a bad thing, it's just a different way of doing it. It feels much more like a normal bike. It feels like riding with a quick shifter, with the exception that you don't have to change with your feet. So here we go, 1st gear. So if I'm more aggressive, you can see how that holds on to the gears longer. It's taking that input and it's going, oh, okay, you want to have a play, we're going to hold on to the gears longer, we're going to change down quicker. And that makes it a really good system. I rode it back from Woking back home, which is about 100 miles give or take, and I decided the M25, I'd had enough of that, I'm just going to go cross country. I went through Windsor, which was very nice. I went through Slough, which was not so good. Apologies to anybody from Slough. But it was a bit of mixed roading, some stuff like this, some town work, and I just left it in the automatic mode and it was fine. It was more than fine, it was good. If I put it into D, it's just all a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, Y-AMT, got to talk about it because that's what you're getting on this bike. It's good. It is very, very good. At that first initial turn, it goes straight away. It almost feels like you can feel the bite point of the clutch, whereas there's a little bit of a detachment on the Honda. You get that feel of the clutch engaging, so it's like you get used to finding the bite point on the throttle as opposed to using the clutch. Okay, so that is the Y-AMT Gearbox done. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. If you've tried it, let me know what you think. If you haven't tried it, let me know if you would, or if you wouldn't, why that is. No hate or anything, I'm just interested. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about ergonomics, because this is a sports touring bike, so it needs to be comfortable for distances, and so far I've found it to be. The seat, after a couple of hours, I start to get a little bit fidgety on it. They do have a comfort seat available. It's £190. I don't know why. If that's more comfortable than the standard seat, why don't they just not put that on? I know why they're doing it, because they can sell it to people for £190. It's an upsell. But there's a part of me that just goes, just put it on the bike. If that's better, put it on the bike. Yesterday I did in one hit about 2.5 hours, and by the end of that I was like, yeah, I could probably do with jumping off of this. So that's not too bad. But the hand bum feet triangle is good. You're canted that little bit forward, your feet are higher and a little bit back, but not uncomfortably so. I'm an old man with a dodgy knee and dodgy ankles, and I have no issues with this whatsoever. Hand guards are on here, which is good. We've got heated grips, and there's 10 levels of heated gripness, which you know, if you can't find a comfortable level in that, there's something wrong with you, not the bike. We have an electric screen. This is currently in its lowest setting. If I press the mode button, I've already got the windscreen selected from the left and right dial, so I can now just put that up and put that down. And in this position, does a pretty good job at keeping the wind off. I get a little bit more breeze over the top. In the highest position, you get a really nice little air bubble to sit in, and I could bat along at motorway speeds with that up, visor open, no problem whatsoever. It's a comfortable place to be. It is a very nice place to be. Nice big pillion seat as well with grab rail, so if you're taking a pillion, I think they are going to be quite happy. So it is what you'd expect it to be. Comfortable, it's relaxing, and it's very easy to ride, which I suppose leads me on to handling. Let's talk about what that's all about. And again, very good. So we've got semi-active suspension, adjustable obviously. At the moment I've just got that in the standard mode, and again, very good. Nice and plush, but with a firm element. It's not kicking back too much. I've not been thrown out of the seat on that. Lots of feedback from that 17-inch front wheel. Quite a neutral bike. It's a very reassuring ride. It's a very confidence inspiring ride, and it has got a very sporty nature. So although it's in that modern kind of vein of upright tall roaders, if you like, or tall sports tourers, does it very well indeed. It's more sporty than something like the NT 1100, which in itself is a lovely bike to ride, and you can really push that on. But this triple has got a really lovely howl to it, and the whole bike just feels that just a little bit more sharper, a little bit more purposeful. The engine remains unchanged. It's the CP3 motor that everybody knows and loves. Power's the same, 117 horsepower, I think it is at 10,000 RPM, and 93 Newton meters of torque at, I think, 7,500 RPM. I'll put the numbers on the screen. I really do love this triple. It is my favourite triple engine. At some point in my life, one of these CP3 motors will be in my garage, I would say, without a doubt. The layout is good. These may look confusing, but they're actually really straightforward. Everything runs through this mode button, so if I press the mode button, it popped up there, and then the joystick just left and right scrolls through. All very intuitive. When I picked the bike up, I thought, oh, okay, there's quite a lot going on here. Actually, within 10 minutes I was very comfortable with what's going on. There is cruise control on here. I've got that cruise control button. If I press that, I'll get my little cruise control light on there, and then this here is my radar distance, and I can alter that distance depending on you know, how close or how far away I want to sit. Obviously I'm not in a position to show you that here, so let's get to me on another road where I can show you exactly how that works, because there's another nice little feature about that. So I think we all know how radar cruise control works. Set at 70 miles an hour, and I've got the medium distance on there. I can change that by pressing this button down here. This has got a slightly different system to some of the others, which we'll see, I think, because we're now approaching that truck. It's a clever piece of kit, only really a small thing, but it's quite interesting. So there we go, I'm slowing down, I'm slowing down, I'm slowing down. Normally I'd indicate, pull out, then the radar would go, it's clear, and it would start accelerating. So at 56 miles an hour I would pull out into the fast lane. If I indicate now, it's starting to accelerate up, and I can pull out into the fast lane. I've been riding this largely in the automatic mode, in D+, and there's been a mix of roads, not really very much in the way of motorway. It's been roads like this and bigger A roads, and I've been returning mid-50s in MPG, which I think is pretty good. And given the size of that tank, you've got an easy 200 mile range. Outside of that, I don't think there's very much more to speak about. You've seen all of the tech that's laden on it. It is a very highly spec'd bike. I think it certainly does earn that moniker of sports tourer. Makes a beautiful noise as well. If I was to do a list of pros and cons for this bike, the pros would be much longer. We've got that engine, you've got all of the tech, you've got the comfort, you've got the handling. Cons, well, I suppose the price, but I get this, a lot of people go, oh, it's too expensive. Well, just because it's too expensive for you doesn't mean it's too expensive for somebody else, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Bikes are getting more expensive, cars are getting more expensive, everything's getting more expensive. That's just unfortunately a fact of life at the moment. Sadly, wage growth and prosperity for the majority of us isn't keeping pace with that. When you're filtering around town like this, it starts to get a bit toasty. I found if you grip the tank with your knees, the heat sort of sits underneath, so you have to kind of splay your legs a little bit to get the air moving. But yeah, it can get a little bit toasty on the underside of your thighs and your backside. Just something to be aware of. The other thing, I guess, could be looks. Styling is subjective. When I first saw the pictures of this, I was a bit like, oh, okay, not sure about that. In the metal, it's actually a nicer looking bike. I don't think the press photographs do it justice. People look at motorbikes and go, no, it needs to have one headlight in the middle, and that's done. This hasn't got that. What it has got is that matrix LED lighting, which is incredible. And I'll cut the video now to show you what that is and how it works. Obviously the best way to show you these lights is to ride at night. Main beam is on, and what it should do is if it detects a car coming in the other direction, it will dip those lights like that. So the lights are excellent. The quality of light from this LED is superb. So you can see we've still got main beam on, it's thrown it up, it's picked up another light there, it's dropped it down again, and it should kick it back on again. There you go. And you'll also notice that the controls are backlit, which doesn't happen on a lot of bikes. Makes a real difference. Finish this little demonstration, I'll take you down some dark unlit country roads just to give you an impression of how good these are. What I've got to watch out for are badgers, foxes and deer. And I think that is a pretty decent throw. With the intelligent lights you might as well just leave it on main beam and let it do its stuff. So far, although I haven't ridden, there's your rabbit. So far, although I haven't ridden a lot at night in this, I've not had any cars coming the other way flash me to say that my headlights are too bright, and I'll take that as a sign that this system is working. So there you go, lights are really, really good, but it gives the bike a certain look. Some people will just not like the looks of it, that's fine. What those looks don't change is just how good and complete a sports touring motorcycle this is. Yamaha have done a fantastic job.
and if it's a sports tourer bike that you're looking for, definitely give this a try. And if you're put off by the Y-AMT, well then there's bikes lower in the range where you can get a manual gearbox. I think that's about all I really need to say whilst I'm out riding the bike.
So what's my final verdict? Well, the Tracer 9 continues to be a truly excellent sports tourer. It performs equally well in town as it does on B roads, country back lanes and the motorway. Hell, you could even take it on a track day, but it does all of this whilst remaining smooth, comfortable and easy to ride. Despite all the gizmos and electricity on this bike, it doesn't impinge on the fantastic riding experience. At its heart, the 2025 Tracer is a fantastic bike to ride, and it continues that heritage and lineage of the model. At £17,004 as it stands here in this form, this is, as I said earlier, the most expensive Tracer ever, and that could be the elephant in the room for quite a few people. Arguably, it is the engine and the chassis that are the real star of this bike. So if you don't want or need all of the gizmos, then the standard Tracer 9 at £11,304 could well be the bargain of the range. However, if you do want the fully loaded sports tourer experience, then the Tracer 9 GT Plus is hard to beat. Very hard to beat. So I hope you found this video useful. With a bike like this with so many features, it's hard to condense it down and concentrate on just the key parts because there's so much going on. So if that has raised any questions, then let me know in the comment section down below and I will come back to you. And all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.